Dear Father, we first ask you for your forgiveness of our trespasses, and as you instruct for us to do the same for those that trespass against us. We appreciate the opportunity to get together and serve you and serve your people at this township. We ask for your blessings on what we do, your guidance and direction on it as well. We also ask for your comforting hands. As you know, 3 firefighters were injured this morning on the line of duty service. Seem to be okay, but everything can happen later. So your protection and healing hand on them. We thank you for the medical staff that attended to them, and again, we ask for your guidance direction what we do this evening. In Jesus, we pray and say thank you.
Amen.
Amen.
You join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the agenda has been distributed to all members. Are there any modifications or additions? Hearing no objection, the agenda is adopted as presented. Did we get a copy of the minutes in our email?
Yes.
Okay. The minutes of the previous meeting have been distributed. Are there corrections to the minutes?
He made a few corrections on, so the final version is good to go.
Okay, if there are no further corrections, the minutes are approved as distributed. I was locked out of my email, so I just got back in there today. Wasn't locked out, I was using the former Decatur Township fire. Yeah, that was the problem. That was a problem. Okay, are there any Decatur Township taxpayer comments? Anybody signed in? Okay. All right, well, with that, I'll hand it over to you, Mr. Trustee.
So I can handle this one of 2 ways. I had distributed in the board packet a spreadsheet synopsis of basically what we would want to work suggesting tonight. And I guess backtrack a little bit, maybe I should sidebar, particularly for Anthony and Jared's history knowledge. We've traditionally opened the budget season, if you will, with a salary workshop. That was something I inherited from the predecessor, Steve. And then from tonight, I can take these numbers in or whatever adaptations you folks suggest and then work it into the full budget, which is scheduled to be introduced, I believe, September 2nd or whatever, just after the Labor Day. Having that said, again, I distributed this. Long story short, we're suggesting pretty much a 5% increase across the board for everyone. Looking ahead with some of the things that came out of the legislature this past session, we don't know if we're going to be able to do this well or better going forward. So it's time that we think we can do that today. It's justifiable as well. We're finding again, and particularly in the EMS side in the fire department, it's just getting more and more competitive to find people. We are short 2 or 3 paramedics as we speak. A couple are better EMTs as we speak, as we interview. One of the things you'll notice too, we're looking at kind of consolidating, kind of doing away with a couple of EMS positions and moving them quicker into the upper levels or pay cycle so that we can be better competitive that way. Some of the feedback, again, as we get through the interviews and the chiefs are here to do those that can elaborate better for you and I can, that we think this is going to put us in a little better competitive regard to meet those needs. So again, it's about a 5% across the board for everyone. If you'll notice, when we get down to the fire department side of things, however, the firefighters are at 11%. However, that's with changing how we have worked previously with the township contributions to the retirement fund, the state retirement fund. I can get into the mile high, I guess, description of that if you like. So short, as I understand it, and I'm not an expert on PERF, as it's commonly known, it's really a broader term that involves a bunch of retirement plans, including PERF, which is the Public Employees Retirement Fund. There is the Police and Firefighters Fund, which is also known as the 77 Fund, dating back to when it had a last major comprehensive overhaul to it in 1977. So there is a board that establishes the rates of which an employer contributes. Those are the two funds, by the way, to which the township participates. There's one for teachers, there's one for judges. There may be others, I just don't know off the top of my head, can't think of them all, please. There is an overall board that establishes the rates of contributions each year. For 2026, that works out to be about a 15% for the PERF, or as we call it, the civilian. Total, it's about a 24%, or about a 30%, I'm sorry, total for the 77 PERF. Break that down to its, for the civilian side, it's about a 3% contribution for the employee, the rest made up by the employer. The 77 fund works out to be about a 6% contribution for the employee, 24% that way for the employer. Up until, presuming this passes and everything, in 2026, the township has, and I don't know how long it has, but has paid both the employee and the employer contributions. We are suggesting in discussion with the union representatives to have them take the onus, if you will, of paying for their contribution to that fund. What that will do, result in them, and Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, or chime in as well. What that will do is, for them, in the long run, improve their pension base. So the civilian PERF, and again, this is a mile high, and I'm not 100% sure I should understand all of it, even though I'm close enough to age, I had it better. But the civilian side of stuff, they're paid, your retirement's based upon basically your last 3 or 5 years, highest 3 or 5 years of compensation. These police and fire PERF is based upon the respective governmental union or that department's pension base, which is a combination of two things: the highest paid non-rank compensation, so i.e. a first-class firefighter, plus the longevity pay. So this will boost their, as it shows, if you will, 11%, boost that base pay up. So that increases their pension base going forward. In the backside, I guess, of it, we're going to then subtract the 6% instead of paying for that, so it's a net wash for the township. A net wash for the township, basically. And they'll be responsible for paying through payroll deduction, of course, their portion, the employee portion that the township has long handled and contributed. We are not, everything on the civilian side of things will stay the same. We'll still pay both the employee and the employer contribution. I hope that made sense.
When was the last time was it just 2 years ago? Was when we did the raises then, about 2 years ago?
We did a modest, going into this year was about a typical modest 3%. That's typically been, we did a couple years back. We did bite the bullet on some EMS stuff, if you recall.
Yeah, that's when they got two.
To again, try to make us get us a little bit better competitive with regard to the market. Unfortunately, like I say, and I'll let them chime in better. It's just tough to get people. There's a nationwide, if not a worldwide, paramedic shortage. We've been fortunate, on a sidebar thing, the volunteer organization has given us a grant that will allow us to send a couple of our at least one, if not two EMTs 2 paramedic schools, so we're trying to address those things from internal, but again, just in the marketing regard. And we're not the only agency, correct me if I'm wrong, having problems, but obviously we've always been, unfortunately, we've always kind of been at the low end of pay, so that's always what I think this is for.
Is Marion County still calling, or I mean, Indianapolis still calling our EMTs out of territory? More often than they should.
Still, I mean,
Right.
I apologize, I don't have the numbers, if you will, today, but do you guys have a guess on how many runs, or what our percentage of runs in versus out are to this point?
Roughly for every one they come to help us, we go to help them 10 times.
That's interesting. So we're fully staffed, but we're really not, because they could be out somewhere in Indianapolis, outside of Decatur Township.
You said one.
One to 10.
10.
And there's really no good resolution.
I did 15 runs on Medicine City 4 a week ago, and I saw 2 patients from Decatur Township.
Really?
And we sort of subsidize
So
their
15 to
shortage
2?
of
That day,
EMTs.
that
Yeah, I
was
get
one
it.
day.
I get it, 15 to 10, yeah.
The trouble with that is, like you said, there's no great solution.
Yeah, I stewed over it.
If we play hardball and said, I'm
Yeah.
not coming to help you anymore, then IEMS is now also Wayne Township. Means anytime we have a need and our trucks are busy, no one's coming, at least not from those agencies.
How far out do you have to go when you do that, when you cover them?
For ALS, there's a 10-minute circle in the dispatch computer, 10 minutes response circle, and for BLS, there's a 15-minute bubble.
But it could be wherever.
Yeah, they can go all over the city,
I
right?
mean, We've gone to Lawrence, we've gone to Greenwood Park Mall, basically. I mean, I got the radio and I got the first arrival on the chief monitor in the office. I mean,
They're busy.
I mean, yeah, we can go to those places. And it's not that often, not that irregular to see us
Yeah.
go.
I used to tell people in the township, hey, we're fully staffed, ready to, be there when you need us. And then I find out, they're usually not here. They're somewhere out in Indianapolis.
Well, fortunately,
I didn't realize that.
Right.
And I mean, fortunately, I guess, too, I mean, we send a ambulance to somewhere like that. We still, fortunately, we got the couple here most of the time. It's not like all 3 of us are gone. Now, I recall we had a run a year ago, and I remember there at Southport and Tibbs, all 3 of ours went, and the 4th one came from Plainfield. So it does happen.
How can that be efficient? I mean, because we don't even know.
We still get the transport revenue from those calls.
Yeah.
So that,
We do
just
charge.
one
Yeah.
plus to it. However, it does on days greatly diminish the availability to the taxpayers.
Right. That's the part I don't like.
And there are ways to fix it, but they can get ugly. As far as-
That's kind of
Talk
what the
about
rabbit
it.
hole I went down was. There's no good way to play it.
Then you're the bad guy. We're the bad guy.
Right. You look like you're
Not
guy in
that,
Lawrence
not that to
dies,
say we
it's
say we're
Decatur's
done and they're gonna
fault.
say they're done.
right. And then someone needs help, and we're not sending
That's the
somebody.
media, that's what would be.
That's the
Right.
story.
So, anyway, back to, there's certainly other question about that, don't state, but if you have some questions about this, again, we're all here to address them. And I said if Chief or the union, Mr. Ferris, would like to say something, then maybe open the floor to them. Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Does the union have any comments on the proposed salary increases?
We met and we're happy with it. I met with all 3 shifts. We took a vote and it passed unanimously. So the
Great.
members are happy about it. I think it's a positive to get that pension base higher.
Yeah.
And what's on paper, so we're recruiting people in, it looks more desirable to them as well.
So is everybody in the 77 fund?
Well,
Or is that just the older crew?
it's
All
all
firefighters.
merit.
Okay.
Yeah, it's designed for merit firefighters and merit police officers.
Okay.
most of the local has gone to this option where we get the extra raise, but we're paying, like you said, a wash. But most of them, just to get their pension base up, like IFP got a 10% raise last year. Really, they got a 4% raise.
Because that 6% was
getting
per.
Right.
Yeah, with the 11 that's proposed, this 6% would be $5,637 that the employee would then take back out of the total 11% increase.
Okay.
And that 5,633 applies to everybody regardless of where they're at in the base. So it doesn't hit everybody exactly the same because it's based off of the pension base and not their level of discount.
Gotcha.
I'm not trying to be a downer on this, I just point this out, like I said, not that it makes perfect sense, and you guys deserve it, don't get me wrong, I'm just saying, in the limelight of everything, we try to go through a new station, a new headquarters, all this truck, this, like the property taxes and stuff out here are getting ready to skyrocket. How do you think it's going to approach the community, the township?
Well, I mean, I need B numbers to plug it in and determine what a tax rate will be. What we've seen over the course of the last few years is due to the property values accurately increasing, even with and we've traditionally gone up about 2 years or $2 million about the last 3 or 4 years on the budget each from year to year. And we've still had a lower tax rate year over year. Once I get the numbers plugged in, I'll have a better assessment of that question, but we've been fortunate.
What kind of pushback we're going to have?
Well, I mean, fortunately, these meetings are streamed anymore, and we probably should have mentioned that at the beginning too. Reminder that the meetings are streamed now, and they are recorded for that purpose. As I've indicated, I'd love to have more attendance at the meetings from the public, but we do notice it on the website. We distribute out the the yearly meeting calendar once determined. So until someone misinterprets, so we publicize and advertise the meeting sufficient enough, and I'll be glad to talk to anyone and look at it, show them the numbers, once we get them determined.
Now, do the firefighters have to pay perf or directly, or does Jeannie do that with the salaries?
Oh, going forward, no, it'll be a payroll deduction.
That's
and we'll
what-
just,
I was wondering
yeah.
I know, it's
if
like,
it would make it back to the pension.
No,
oh, I'm sure it would.
Just kidding.
we'll just have to do different accounting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just have one unrelated question, but related to the budget. I'm seeing here about 122,563 on poor relief investments from 6/9 to 8/15. And I'm just curious what some of those investments were.
Well, they're all in the Trust Indiana Fund, which the board approved 2 years ago, well, longer than that, probably 2 or 3 years ago, to invest, and we decided to invest in Trust Indiana, and they have a wide portfolio.
Okay.
So, so those investments, when you talk about township assistance, we make them based on kind of the percentage of the budget in which that respective fund generates or encompasses. So that's why you'll see a lot more in the firefighting and the township assistance, et cetera. Sure.
And so Anthony, on that, so the state treasurer is the one that has to do that, and they're very strict guidelines of what they can and can't. I don't know that having formally works in the state auditor's office. That's the treasurer's their
Baby.
yeah, it is their baby. I mean, that is their job. And so, even in the last few years, there have been some changes in what they could invest in, based on some political feelings that people had of what should and shouldn't be invested in. They can't get very risky. I mean, they have to, their tolerance for risk is hardly anything because it is government entities that are invested in it. So,
I'm glad they are.
yeah. So I couldn't tell you exactly what fund or what stock or bond or whatever it's invested in, but
Pretty sure we're just in the money market. So
yeah.
It's just all,
So it would be like that, yeah.
it's just all treasury
Yeah.
debt, which has been giving good rates recently, so.
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, we have millions in there, it kind of shows.
It's a good time to be in that market.
So do you need an approval on the salary statements or is
No,
that come later?
No, all that we've done is, and all it asks for is just the consensus to run with these numbers. These are maximums, if you will.
Well, do we have a consensus or any other discussion or questions?
Yeah, I'm good with that. What's proposed? Everybody?
I'm good.
I mean, I was curious about the 11% number, but having explained that way, if it
Yeah, I thought
shows
that's how I was reading that.
across the board a 5% raise, and in this, it'll come back up anyway when we go through the budget. It will, if the numbers look at, I don't, some, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, breakdown.
We'll revisit it at some point. All right. Do we have consensus?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I guess we don't have to vote. All right, old business, resolution 2025-03, amendment to the township's 2025 township assistance guidelines.
Yes. I think we may be able to proceed tonight.
That's been hanging around.
Yeah.
on the agenda.
So you have in front of you a red lined version, if you will, that was originally presented back in, I don't know, it was February or so. Gone back and forth with council, and so made the red line with the strike throughs in them would be words to delete. The red language would be words to add. Long story short, I figured probably what we ought to do is maybe just kind of start from scratch. So you should see third or fourth page back.
The next one is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to compare.
Which is basically the unless I've made a graphical error, the language that, short version summarizes all that. What I would suggest is we have two votes. One vote and suggest vote down the resolution 2025-03.
Okay.
And then vote and presumably for approval the policy that's on the second set of pages.
Okay, so it wouldn't be a resolution.
Correct, it'd be a policy edition.
Well, do we have to vote it down or can we just withdraw it?
I know like on the, I don't know what the legal procedures or what the attorney would say. I know when I was on the council, you could vote down or you could vote to strike an ordinance proposal.
This resolution was brought up for discussion,
Correct.
so we have to take a vote on it, right?
Yeah.
I guess I'm just confused why not a resolution, but to change it to an addendum instead.
Well, the long story short is that's what was, policy was to, the original proposal was to add a policy to the
Township assistance.
township assistance guidance, long story short, so that's what we're doing, just incorporate it as a policy tonight. At the end of the day, it'll go in as an amendment as opposed to, I think, to those guidelines, as opposed to a separate amendment or a separate resolution elsewhere.
Okay. And I just had one, I think a clerical amendment suggestion is on the second page on D, section 2D, where it says other means of community assistance if unavailable. I believe that's supposed to say available. Where it says the trustee may provide school clothing at the beginning of each full academic year and make referrals to other means of community assistance if.
available.
Oh,
You're right.
available.
Yeah.
You're right. You get all like me and I stuff.
No worries.
So if we do, I don't know.
So that, I'm a bit behind. So this struck up document ends up looking like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anthony, I'm gonna defer to you. This has been your baby. I know you've done a ton of work on this. Trustee Holliday, thanks so much for getting Jack Bellamy to look into this as well.
Thank you.
And kind of look at the legal side of that as well. So, yeah, if this meets what you were trying to do, then, yeah, then I'm good with it. This was yours. You put a ton of work into this.
Yeah,
This is what you wanted. I don't mean it like that. This is what you wanted to do.
Put some sweat into it,
Yeah,
baby.
that's right. This is overall. This is what you were trying to accomplish.
Yes.
Which my quick reading, I know it put thoughts in your mind. If this meets what you were trying to do, then
I believe it does.
I don't see any harm it does to the township or to our taxpayers or people requesting township assistance.
I think the overall goal was just try to take a little bit more of a conservative approach of utilizing the resources that are voluntarily available. So it's less that comes out of here, this office, empower and kind of connecting neighbor with neighbor.
I think you're right. Excellent. Yeah.
What, with this policy addendum, do you see how will your interaction, do you think, practically change going forward with applicants? Do you find it helpful or?
Well, I mean, I think it would be helpful for us, which is probably something we could do anyway, but as I advocated back a few months ago, I think our biggest concern isn't so much, our biggest concern is more so finding supplemental help.
Right.
So this, in no defense, and again, I've recopied and submitted everyone the attorney's concerns in the first place. The original thing is written really confined us to going out and finding other means of help that may not be available, for one, which delays helping people which we're obligated to do. We're obligated to do it within a certain time frame, particularly too, even without an application under an emergent situation, i.e. someone on fire, flooded out their home. We have to react first and then deal with the procedures and whatever later as well. So I guess the policy as it's written and presented to you tonight, I would answer, takes kind of that unrealistic burden off of us. And then two, as we get those resources that are out there, we can then maybe tap them better. And subsequently as well, you guys remember from June or May, we did implement the donation fund policies and those types of things.
Oh, right.
Which are now established and that kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
And like as the attorney mentioned, some of this is better simplified by just having church aid donate.
Right.
And then, they can make the restrictions on it as they want to a point. I mean, right, we talk about we can't send someone and they'd be required to insert services, so they can require us to make donations to us contingent upon someone attending church services, on those types of things. But again, if we have that pool of money and we meet their guidelines, then we can, distribute it out. So if we have a $500 utility bill from someone, we can, as you remember from our guidelines, our cap is 200. If we can tap 300 out of that donation fund and get someone better, get them their needs met, then we can.
Right, because the thought was, we have a policy to provide, bare minimum funeral service or a bare minimum light rent, but it seems like the numbers we came on, there's a shortfall
They're usually
from what it actually costs. So this will allow us to find that shortfall.
I think one of the things I pressed so hard for about compiling a list of community service providers is so we know who they are, and it keeps it simple because we've got their phone number. It's really just a phone call away. We don't have to necessarily send someone somewhere to confirm if the resources are available. I don't expect a lot of monetary assistance is going to be provided by our local providers. But with the churches I've been to and talked to the charity riders up on Troy Avenue, who do occasionally provide monetary support, I expect a lot more transportation assistance, employment assistance, help providing them with job opportunities, which Friendswood does. They also have a food pantry there now as of June. So food, clothes, transportation to a job. These are all things that can be provided voluntarily by our local churches and community providers, that I believe are an untapped resource or largely untapped at this time.
Right. Great.
And, if we do approve this, I've got a list of people I can provide very quickly.
Awesome. Well, you guys, anybody need time to digest this, or you want to vote on it tonight? We've gone over it
We've gone
a
over it.
lot.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Right.
as long as
That's where I'm at.
I mean,
Already.
I trust Anthony. I mean, he's done his due diligence. He's really fine.
I'm good with it.
When I saw this on the agenda, I was like, we gotta get this off. It's just like,
I started just banging my head and I saw it. I'm like, not again. No, I'm just teasing.
no, I hated punching it every time. It's like,
Oh, no.
Oh,
glad we're
There-
actually coming
Here's the
to-
can.
And there are
Right,
some,
right,
I did see some of the legal landmines, but there's ways to get around that. So legally, we cannot tell anyone to go somewhere where they're going to be required to participate in some sort of religious activity in exchange for support.
Right, that would
That's
be the
that's
problem.
illegal. But if you're just going there to pick up a couple meals and and you're no under obligation to do anything, take the help where you can get it.
Right. Okay, any further discussion?
So we need to vote on resolution 2025-03. We need to vote that down.
Right.
That's right.
So that it goes away. And then vote to adopt this policy. Is that what we need to do?
That's what I think should be done.
All right, so on the question of resolution 2025-03, I'm gonna say all those in favor. Nobody say aye. All those in favor? All those opposed? Or
Aye.
nay?
Aye.
Aye, okay. All right, 2025-03 was not accepted.
And this is to vote down the resolution,
Right, we're voting this one down, and we're gonna vote on the policy adoption.
and we're all in favor of voting that down.
Yes.
Right, 2025-03.
Yeah, right,
Yep.
so we just voted this one down.
Now,
Okay, Okay, all those in favor of adopting the policy for community empowerment and supplementation of township assistance?
So we have a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion.
Want to do that?
I'll second it.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, policy adoption passes.
Sign it, center up for signature.
Okay.
I crossed out unavailable, wrote in available.
That works.
I would suggest the chair and secretary and I will initial.
Gotcha.
That one.
Okay, shows that change.
And from my perspective, that's it. You have the typical paperwork in your packets of the updates of the financial reports, the update of the investment reports, which we kind of talked about a moment ago.
Anybody have any questions about the information shared by the trustee? Investments look good. What's the status of the work that Bot's doing?
Another one.
We have a kickoff meeting Friday.
Yeah, I saw that.
You got that. Have to hope to send them running.
Yeah.
If you will. I mean, you know, they want to get more definition of scope and a couple things, so those types of things.
Great.
Do I need to line through an initial for that one word change?
Yeah, when it comes around.
Did I not send the other page? Wait, did I send you 2 pages or just one?
Just one.
I think that's the top.
You got, you got, there's a
You can only use this
a
page.
line, but you just got a imaginary.
Oh.
Yeah.
Imaginary line.
Yeah. No, not enough lines.
Josh,
Oh,
took up 2 lines.
Yeah. On John.
John.
Big old Donald J.
Yeah, right. Wildest signature ever.
I know.
Any other discussion for this evening?
Did you want to set up, are we going to talk about the guy from? Or is that-
No, whatever.
I didn't know.
I haven't met with him yet.
I know. We haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You want to do that on the record or? It's up to you guys.
Sure.
I don't care.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know we've had just a few emails, haven't met with him yet, but Dan, is it Fair? Is that his last name? It's a PH over at Holiday Properties.
Sounds right.
About maybe this potential if there's land available over at Holiday Property about a land available for a fire station over there. So I think they may only have one spot available, and I don't really know that it's where we want it. So anyway, there may be discussion of that for our next meeting or in between there somewhere. So we'll see where that goes. Anyway, back in was it 94 when that was developed? Is that when that was?
3 or 5.
Okay, somewhere in there.
That range, yeah.
Holiday Property Management, whatever their official legal name is, at some point agreed to cede some amount of property to the township for a fire station or a government center entity, whatever. That seems from their side to have been lost and now discovered again. But where that exact property is was never determined, and again, may not be the best spot for it at all. So, but just an option that some of the board was looking at if there was a different spot that would be better. So, anyway, we'll keep everybody in the loop on that, especially the fire administration as well. So, yep.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, thanks.
Just curious, so could we just say, yeah, hold it for us? Not necessarily use it if we don't decide on it.
So the
or a
committee,
fourth or a fifth or a sixth station sometime. Before it all gets developed over there, we might as well claim a lot.
well, it's a zoning commitment, which runs with the land, as the law would say.
Right.
The commitment specifically says, and I say specifically without having her to read to you, but, you know, when I went to work for the city township administrator, I had to learn that pretty intimately. They committed to grant 2 acres at the intersection of Ameriflex Parkway and the north-south running of Glen Road. And it specifically says for a fire station to serve Ameriflex.
He even knows more than I do.
Right. So,
Yeah.
you know, what happens in then, I mean, and, you know,
So it's a very specific spot that they say.
And a specific size, which I don't even know if 2 acres, chief, would even be. It might be cutting it close, wouldn't it?
I'm not sure, based on our needs here.
Yeah.
Of what we're looking at.
What is this?
I mean, we're looking at 2 acres from the school there, and they're gonna allow us, this is about 2 as well. And they're gonna allow us, if we need to bleed over, 2 here for 1. You know, so what happens is in that regard, and sometimes you know, I've seen with other things in my involvement with the council and with the civic council and stuff like that, you get into the wording and the wordsmithing, and does that mean that station only exclusively serves Ameriflex?
Right.
That's, when you said that just now, that was my
If not,
concern as
you know,
well.
do they have a beef if we pull it out? You know, use equipment to run anywhere else?
Yeah.
You know, Holiday Group and the original partnership's always been good, for the most part, good community partners. I don't think they'd ever get to that point,
Sure.
but, you know, those are some specifics that, you know, could come into play. I guess the other hand is, you know, I mean, I've known about it. I've known, like I said, I've known about it since 95 or 7 when I worked for the city. I'm just, you know, unless we specifically want to do something with that property, I advocate by law, they have to hold it, for one. They can't develop on it. If they do, then, you know, you get into the mix of a zoning violation. There's other ways to compensate, but I'm not necessarily inclined to want to take on the role of a property owner, or take on the role of just bringing that off the tax rolls for the couple of cents that it does generate in taxes versus how much we have to put out for liability insurance and mowing the grass and the maintenance. So unless we are really set and determined to do something there.
Yeah.
But they're not developing it indefinitely.
Legally, they shouldn't and couldn't, aren't supposed to. I mean, you know, things happen.
For the city council would catch it.
Well, I mean,
Police committee would catch it.
well, no, probably not. I mean, it'd be a situation like, you know, it happens unfortunately all the time, and we have a mirrored situation now where we're working on behind the scenes. Fortunately, the city's kind of behind us. You know, if you don't have a good permit review, when someone comes in for permit, something can happen and they get a permit for it. That happened, my reference is that happened with that trucking depot company at Lyndhurst in Kentucky. They were they originally got the zoning approved for that. They were committed to put in some tree and landscaping things. They ended up, what happened with that is when they submitted the plans addressed Lyndhurst instead of Kentucky Avenue.
So it got routed to the wrong
And
township.
instead of the permit reviewer didn't catch that it was the same property and approved it, that still didn't negate the zoning commitments. So they had to come back a couple of years ago, seek modification for those commitments. And out of that shook out a few things. One, they had to go in and which frankly, they're in violation now today, and code enforcement's in another case. But they're in violation for not entering those zoning commitments. The other thing was, they were supposed to have written a check to the township for $5,000 for the firefighter memorial, but they didn't. So,
That's the one in Kentucky inland, right there in the
Yes.
corner.
yes.
You know, a big security fence.
That's right.
Mhm.
So, so to draw the analogy, to answer your question, Jared, or you, Josh, or whoever was asked, something could happen. But the owner of the property is still on the hook and obligated by law to adhere to the zoning commitment.
And if that's where it is, then that doesn't make sense to replace this. Yeah, that doesn't. Now, maybe 20 years down the road, if that area over there,
That's what I was
they put a bunch of
wondering.
houses up there, then then maybe that's
Builds up.
a fourth fire station,
Well,
right?
and
We used to have one over there.
You'll never see houses there.
Yeah.
The airport.
Oh, because the airport has that. That's right.
But yeah, in theory,
So maybe there's something there. So yeah, I wondered about that too, and there was a part of me that thought about that too. Oh, do we have them deeded over to the township? But I didn't realize that's where it was. Okay. Not that I thought we had a free reign of pick whatever plot you like, Jared. Just pick it out. And whatever the township wants, we'll give it.
And
to
there's
them.
not that much.
And there's not that much. No, I've looked.
no, they
I've looked quite a bit on
They
it.
are.
There's
They
not
are
much
close
there.
to. Yeah, they are close to.
Okay.
Again, probably realistically, if they came in, if they got a permit, if they built on 2 acres, and there was never 2 acres to give us, the resolution is a monetary
I was gonna
donation.
say,
of
they
that
give us
to the
some, yeah.
township. Then the argument is, how much is that?
Yeah. Right.
What's that 2 acres worth at that time, basically.
Yeah.
So.
All right. No, thanks for that. Might be-
All right. Any further discussion? Take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
A second.
Thank you.
No,
All those in favor of adjourning? Aye.
Aye.
No, I like you guys too much. I want to stay around.
No, let's keep going.
Now I have a question. There was a trucking.
But we're off the record now.
Oh, we are?
Done.
Yeah, we just adjourned.
High School Road and Hannah. And I think
Craywall or whatever.
there wasn't a sign. They just had semis parked there
Okay.
on the